Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the PPP Weekly Press Conference. With me, as usual, is our General Secretary. He will be making some statements and then we'll be taking the questions. Yes?
Thank you. There's one statement that comprises of a number of issues I'd like to refer to. Felix and the Department of Citizenship. There are growing concerns over the secretive happenings at the Department of Citizenship under the Ministry of the Presidency. Questions are being raised about the recent internal arrangements and instructions that have been issued to employees at the GRO since the May 2015 general and regional elections and the March 2016 local government elections with respect to the issuance of birth certificates. We were told that over 4,000 birth records are being reviewed at the GRO on a daily basis. Word has it that the Department of Citizenship has introduced measures to control the issuance of birth certificates, which are used as source documents for the purposes of national registration by the Guyana Elections Commission, GECOM. Information has been revealed that the objective of the internal exercise at the GRO is to produce, in collaboration with GECOM, a fraudulent voters list by keeping the names of dead persons on that list and by transferring names of underage persons from fake birth certificates to the preliminary voters list. It was Mr. Felix who is on record establishing the linkages between birth certificates and elections when he said that he, quote unquote, saw persons get birth certificates that had no names on them, end of quote. The question is, where did those birth certificates come from? The PPP had raised questions before about the secretive and non-transparent employment of one Patrick Triumph as a UNICEF consultant by the Department of Citizenship, but no mention was made of his terms of reference, nor his qualifications, and whether the vacancy was publicly advertised. Further, the party had expressed its concern over the fact that little or nothing is known about the shady Triumph International Group belonging to the secretive Patrick Triumph, hired by UNICEF to work at Felix's department. The legislative review of the Registration of Births and Deaths Act to achieve 100% registration of births and deaths in Guyana, and the multi-year communication plan to support increased birth registration is a total mystery to the Guyanese populace, and questions are being raised about what has happened to this project. The PPP has time and again raised its concerns about plans being hatched currently to rig the 2020 elections in favor of the APNU AFC, while at the same time exerting efforts through SARU to harass, intimidate, and demonize PPP leaders. The PPP rejects the call by Felix to make the passport office, quote unquote, a semi-autonomous body under civilian control, meaning his control. They talk about, quote, allowing for a broad range of structural adjustments that are not possibly both legally and logistically, end of quote, is a sham and a sinister move to bring the passport office under the control of political operatives in the APNU AFC, and to remove it from under Ramjatan and to bring it under the APNU to issue another type of source document to produce a fraudulent voters list for the sole purpose of maintaining the APNU AFC in office. Ramjatan and GCOM picketing. The People's Progressive Party protests the mounting of barriers at the Guyana Elections Commission headquarters, preventing the PPP from carrying out a peaceful picketing exercise at that location. The party wishes to remind that since the May 2015 fraudulent general and regional elections, the party has picketed peacefully at the said location without any incident whatsoever during these exercises. It was surprising, therefore, that when protesters turned up at the usual site for their picketing exercise, they were confronted by police barriers and were forced to picket on the public road, thus placing in danger the lives of the peaceful picketers who were exposed to heavy vehicular traffic. It was only when this danger was brought to the attention of the commanding officer that traffic ranks were positioned to divert vehicular traffic away from endangering the lives of the peaceful demonstrators. The PPP views this new development as politically inspired and centrally directed by the Minister of Public Security and his sycophants at Force Headquarters to deny the constitutional right of the members and supporters of the PPP to peacefully protest and to freely express their views throughout Guyana. The party wishes to express its deep disappointment that in the midst of Operation Safeway, road accidents continue unabated, while another road fatality occurred at Friendship on the East Bank Highway. Operation Safeway is clearly not creating the safe environment on our roads as was envisaged. It is proving to be another disaster of Ramjatan's making.
Superfoods assures the best quality corn and mixed vegetables. Our decade of experience and reliability certainly will help your cooking experience. Our farm fresh corn and mixed vegetables are always picked at prime season and canned to perfection. Once you taste Superfoods corn and mixed vegetables, you will know the difference. Superfoods corn and mixed vegetables, highest quality at the lowest price. Call Superfoods today. Located at 8 Rumfeld Industrial Estate, Georgetown. Call 223.
Dataram's escape. The escape of known drug lord Mr. Dataram shows that the security arrangements of the state, which Granger likes to boast so much about, is a disaster. Could you imagine if this had happened while the PVPC were in office? What would have been the outcry? Who facilitated him with fake documents? Was the Department of Citizenship in any way involved? Was he escorted out of the country? And if so, by whom? Was a deal cut in exchange for his escape? How come the government knew that he crossed the Quarantine River to Suriname and that he did not go to either Brazil or Venezuela? How come when there is so much close cooperation between law enforcement in Guyana and Suriname, yet he was allowed to slip across the border? The question is, did he really slip over the border? On which border did he slip across? Next comes the question, who is in Dataram's pockets? Who was paid off to ensure that his movements were not closely monitored? How did he manage to escape or to elude Operation Dragnet, which we are told was a great success, when in fact it is a big failure? This alone shows that how come he was able to know when and where roadblocks were set up and to avoid them. This entire episode is not only laughable, it is a shame and disgrace. Will another commission of inquiry be set up to investigate this great escape? Mr. Granger proudly proclaims that drug trafficking is the mother of all crimes. It is strange that Mr. Granger would now tell us this, when according to Starbuck News, he is the, quote, most security-attuned president the country has ever had, with vast experience in the armed services and intelligence gathering, end of quote. I have to say this. If drug trafficking is the mother of all crimes, the Granger administration is the father of all excuses. Harping back to what the APNU and AFC said of the PPPC government's track record in fighting drug trafficking will not solve anything. And in any case, Mr. Granger should move away from speculation and hypothetical propositions about the sources of crime in a Guyana context. He should present the statistics and the evidence to justify his assumption. He has not done so, yet he is bold enough to make these reckless statements. Mr. Granger tells the nation that, one, a national anti-narcotics agency has been established, that he chairs every week a national security committee, that a DEA office has been established in Guyana, and that the National Drug Strategy Master Plan was relaunched. Yet, with all these institutional arrangements in place, Mr. Dataram was allowed to escape. If Mr. Granger could not stop Dataram from escaping, how will he bring an end to narco-trafficking? And as if this was not embarrassing enough, Mr. Granger complains that they don't have boats, planes, vehicles, and ATVs for law enforcement. Well, question is, what is stopping the Granger administration from procuring these items for law enforcement? When, while they were in the opposition, they pressed for these items to be procured for law enforcement. However, now that they are in the government, there is absolutely nothing stopping them from buying these items for law enforcement. Again, all we are hearing are excuses and more excuses from the father of all excuses.
You're looking for a place to call your own, a place to unwind and relax in style. The Italian Grill, where friends gather, enjoy fine wine or a cocktail while dining in our casual atmosphere. It's easy to make any event special when you're among friends, serving lunch and dinner and using only the freshest ingredients. The Italian Grill. It's time to make it your own.
Corruption in government. Mountains of corruption are now coming to light at the Guyana Water Inc. Van West Charles is using his office to accumulate special privileges. Overnight, he was granted a license to import chicken and a license to import fuel. Maybe the fuel is to cook the chicken. He has hired shady characters at GWI, including a known drug pusher as a debt collector. Van West Charles is facing charges for discriminating in favor of persons and legitimate businesses. Then there's corruption at GCOM and at the Ministry of Health. When Mr. Granger said that there's corruption in the private sector, he was obviously shielding his government and his lazy and incompetent ministers from public scrutiny and encouraging the public to look elsewhere for corruption and not in his camp. It was another use of the device of deception by the president to obfuscate the rampant corruption in the APNU AFC administration. Thank you.
Those were the statements. The question, who will be the first?
Spectrum News. Mr. Rohi, what would you call the escape of Rajiv Khan into Suriname on your tenure as the Minister of Home Affairs? If we're going to look at Dataram escaping, how would you compare the two? What would be different in that case?
I would not compare the matter which you raised with any other matter. I already answered that question at our last press conference last week, and I'm not prepared to go over that again.
Let's move on. Next. Any other questions?
Mr. Roy, you talked about, Mandel Nightly News, you talked about the protesters at GCOM and how it is that law enforcement would have placed barricades and so forth here. In the past, we would have had cases whereby APNU protesters were picketing and they came under similar treatment, even worse in some cases.
Well, my simple answer to that is two wrongs don't make a right. If it was wrong for them, it's wrong for us.
Sir, but why wouldn't you have spoken out about it if you would have deemed it as wrong before?
That would not for me to speak out about it. It's for them to speak out about it because they considered it wrong to them. For them to speak out against it.
Any questions?
Mr. Rohi, Luciana Gomes Cornelius, MTV News Update. You MTV News Update. You said it was as regards Ramdutari's work regarding, you call it another disaster, Operation Safeway. Now, would it be that it's not that Operation Safeway is not working, but that the citizens of the country not following the rules and regulations of the traffic regulations? Could it be that, but not necessarily Operation Safely? And what advice would you give to the traffic ranks who are leading this operation?
Well, the last thing I want to do is to blame the citizens of this country at all. If any citizen commit a violation of the traffic laws, the police must take action against them. You will have from time to time cases like that occurring on the street. But it was the police that launched Operation Safeway, not the citizens. So since the police launched Operation Safeway, they have to make sure that it works. They're the ones that launched it, and they're the ones that are crowing every day about its success. Yet, we constantly continue to have road accidents. We had 2 persons being killed on the East Bank highway over the weekend. How do you explain the success of Operation Safeway, yet people are being killed on the roads of Guyana? So it's the police that launched Operation Safeway. They're the ones that are claiming it a success. They're the ones that are saying that they will make it a success. Let them get down to doing that. And let them ensure that Operation Safeway is indeed successful. And that the amount of traffic accidents, breaches of the laws, and deaths on our roads are reduced significantly. And that our roads are indeed made safe. That's their job to do. And like I said, if any user of the road violates the law, then the police will be there to deal with them. That's their responsibility. And then also, it's for the police traffic department to launch a very aggressive public relations campaign. You asked about what I would suggest. Well, they must launch a very aggressive public relations campaign to educate the public. They must spend money on that and stop spending money on putting up barriers.
Any other questions?
Actually, we read in the press at the weekend that Parliamentarian Ramson has officially resigned. Are you prepared now to name his replacement?
No, not yet.
Next. Any other? Okay, ladies and gentlemen, if there are no other questions, thank you.